People always say you need to put on your own oxygen mask before you put on someone else's. You need to fill your own cup before you fill someone else's. Well, it's so normalized in our day-to-day life to go on date nights with our partner, or have a coffee date with a friend, or go grab drinks for fun, or hang out in a park, or do a fun activity with someone. But do you ever do it alone? Do you ever think, oh, I've been wanting to try out this sandwich shop down the street for so long, but it never works out to get to go with a friend or a roommate or your parents or a family member. Well, why don't you go alone? And there's also a lot of sayings about how, like, the scariest things to do by yourself is to go to a movie by yourself and to go to dinner by yourself. And if you do those things by yourself, like, you've conquered it. Or traveling by yourself. I love traveling by myself. It feels like a vacation just getting on the plane. Literally just being able to be on the plane alone feels so freeing. I don't have to talk to anyone. I get on the plane and I'm like, I always have a few options of things I could do. I'm like, I could watch a movie, I could work on something creative, I could read a book, I could sleep, I could just listen to a podcast, I could just listen to music the whole time. And then whatever I'm feeling inspired to do in that moment, I do. But listen, we're not going to hop on a plane by ourselves every time we want to, have a little solo adventure, because who has that kind of money? Why don't we go on a date with ourselves and take ourselves on a little date? And I started to do this a bit more recently, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Solo dates for me usually involve food because I love food and I love to go out and eat and get a good sandwich. And it also involves an element of freedom and not planning. Sometimes I'll try and be like, okay, this day I have nothing going on, so maybe I'll go shopping and pick up a few things that I want. But other times I'm like, you know what? I just need to get out of the house. And then I just let my body lead me to where I'm meant to go. And 2 different times recently, I'm really lucky I live in downtown Toronto, so there's a lot of stuff going on in Toronto. And there were free art galleries that were just open that I could walk into, where I was on my way to the lake, or I was on my way to, actually recently I was on my way to 420 in Dundas Square, right in the heart of downtown Toronto, and I was going to grab a sandwich after I balled up. I just said balled up, and only people in Ontario, I think, say ball up. That means smoke weed. And then I was going to walk to the quad on my campus and eat it and just kind of chill by myself. And on my walk there, I was like, oh my God, I've always walked past this art gallery that says free admission, please enter, and I've never gone in. This is the perfect time to go in. And so I did. And in these moments, I get so connected with myself, and especially when I'm around art, I get inspired in a new way, and it fills my cup so much. And just oftentimes maybe there's a realization, an epiphany. Even if there isn't, there's also usually a podcast idea that comes out of it, aka me sitting here recording this right now. Or it's just time to do a check-in and see how I'm feeling. And it's really, really nice to go out and adventure and do things without the pressure to talk the whole time. I actually think I absorb what I'm doing and enjoy it in a very different way that feels really calming, because you're not having to catch up while you're trying to absorb the activity you're doing. So a few other things on my list / things I've done. So I've gone to the lake, gone to an art gallery, just grabbed food and sat in a park. When I used to live in Vancouver, I one time got lunch last minute because I was hungry and I had a book, so I ended up sitting and reading my book. Or I was people watching, which is really fun. There's a lot of stuff you can see when you people watch. Recently I went to a concert and oh my God, waiting for the concert to start, sitting on the lawn seat was just there's so many different kinds of people at concerts, which is so cool. Okay, so I mentioned weed and I dabble a little. I don't smoke in a certain amount of frequency. People are how often do you smoke weed? I'm also 21, by the way, legal in Ontario. But people are how often do you smoke weed? And I'm honestly, It really, 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 really changes. Sometimes I forget being high is even an option to life, and so I will go like weeks without smoking. Other times I'll smoke a couple times a week. Sometimes I only smoke socially. Sometimes I smoke only by myself, depending on the week or the month. I don't know what it is, but for me, being high really connects me with my body. I mean, different for everybody. Like if you get paranoid when you smoke weed, set your boundary and don't do it. It's not fun to like partake in substances if it doesn't make you feel good. For me personally, when I smoke a little bit or eat a little bit of an edible, I will be by myself and I'll just go with the flow so much more. And I just am so much more aware of how my body's feeling and how I'm feeling and what I need and what I'm craving. And like my brain goes on the longest mental tracks of like random deep dive thoughts, goes into a rabbit hole. And I really love it. And it's really, really enjoyable. So sometimes when I go on a little solo date, if I don't have to go anywhere later that day, I will not ever smoke weed and drive. That's just, please don't do that. Please don't drink and drive. Please don't do any of those things. Like seriously, for your own safety and everybody else's. But yeah, so obviously if I don't have to drive anywhere, like luckily living in Toronto, I walk everywhere. So I will spark a little doobie and always end up getting food. Or like one time I got bubble tea, which I hadn't gotten in forever. And the best me dates are spontaneous ones. And we plan a lot of our life. And I've been thinking a lot lately about how life feels really tiring sometimes. It feels very serious sometimes. I also have been MIA on the podcast a lot these couple weeks because I got a job as a receptionist at a physio and chiro clinic. And it's working with the public. I have to put on a smile all the time. I have to make small talk all the time, and saying that even makes my chest feel heavy because it's really tiring. And it's also really tiring to be so professional all day long. Trust me, I know I don't want to work in an office for my whole life. I want to do this for my whole life. So going on these dates by yourself like gives you a chance to spend really good quality me time when you're not just in your room. Because I get into such a slump of just like watching TV every time I don't have plans and I've finished work, which like also last night, it was amazing. I got home from work. I was also really tired because I went to a concert the night before and I just binged Disney Plus and it felt so good. And then other times it's like really nice when you can spend time with yourself in a way that's not really high energy, but still gives a little bit of a deeper connection with yourself, like doing a little bit of a yoga practice or going on a small walk, going into the nearest garden near you or the nearest green space near you. Life is so heavy sometimes. We have so many big emotions. There's grief about your own personal life and people you may have lost. There's grief on relationships you've lost. There's grief on friendships you may have lost. There's grief about how fucked up the world is altogether, that we have to give ourselves a chance to let it go and forget about it. That doesn't mean you're not going to, be someone who, is hoping to make change in the world. In order to make change in the world and within your own life, you have to take time off because you're going to burn out and it's not going to feel good. You want to feel inspired. And the ways to feel inspired is giving yourself space in your schedule for spontaneity. That was good advice. It's true. It's what I'm learning in my own life, that you need room to just breathe and let go and admire the beauty again. And going on a date by yourself, with yourself, gives you that chance to just move wherever you want to move, not have to take into account other people's feelings, and just go where your heart leads you. And put yourself out there a little bit too. Like, I started going to dance classes. I haven't danced in 5 years, and I left the dance, music, theater world with a bad taste in my mouth because I really didn't like it in high school. But now it's just for fun. There's something to be said about doing a hobby or an activity where there's no other purpose than to just have fun. And it's funny because so often I think with the podcast, I want it to be my full-time job. I want to make money off of it. I want to be able to do it all the time. And I always think like, but this is my hobby. Like, should I just keep it as my hobby and not attach like external validation or a monetary value to it? But I'm glad me saying this is making me realize I have other hobbies, and that's what's important. Whatever you're doing in your day-to-day life most of the time, or what your dreams are, have things separate from that are seriously just for joy. The only purpose is to just have fun and express yourself and connect with yourself, connect with the world in a different way, and experience awe. If you have not listened to my episode, Why You're Not Lazy, please go listen to it. It's all about how we call ourselves lazy and put this, negative feeling and negative expectation on ourselves because we're not doing enough. But that's not what the world is about. Your self-worth does not need to be tied to your productivity. And when you do things just to do them, to have fun, to feel good, oh my God, it makes the other things way better. It makes going to work not as horrible because I have this life outside of work. I have these things I do just for fun outside of work, and it fills my cup, and then it brings ideas and creativity to the things that I do put my energy in that do have those other values or needs or expectations tied to it. So give yourself a break. Basically was my really long-winded way to say, give yourself a break. That looks different for everybody, and that looks different every day. If you're hungover, lie in bed and watch TV. If you're hungover, maybe you want to do a slow-moving yoga practice or have a hot shower. Everybody needs different things. But if it's a day you're feeling a little bit more rested, like today, my boyfriend called me this morning and just rained inspiration on me. And this is something I want to talk more about the podcast, and I'm really experiencing in my own life, is who do you surround yourself by and what do they add to your life? And you become the 5 people you're surrounded by. And something that's really challenging, especially in your 20s, but throughout your life, but I think when you leave high school and you don't see the same people every day, your friendships really change. And I'm at a point where I'm really evaluating friendships and wondering okay, well, where do I want to go in my life? Who could really help me? Who can I learn from? Who in my life do I see often that I can really learn and pull from? And it makes me feel really good that my boyfriend inspires me so much and encourages me to go for my dreams so much, because obviously he's one of the closest people to me. And so think about who you're around. And I love Rachel Hollis. She is I've loved her since grade 12 when I was in a terrible relationship in grade 12. I started reading her book, Girl Stop Apologizing, right before it basically began my, okay, it's time to break up with my boyfriend at the time. And there are controversies, you know what I mean, about her now, but watch an episode of Rach Talk on her YouTube channel, and her energy is just infectious. And she has said once, maybe even a long time ago, that who you want to become, the dreams you want to fulfill, surround yourself by people who are doing that already. I really want to get into coaching and offer to my listeners one-on-one calls with me where we can talk about your own life and get more personal and figure out what you're needing. And that's a thing in this world, and it feels like I had to go do a master's of social work and become a therapist for that to be an option, but that's not an option. And so I luckily know 2 different people through different connections I've met them who are coaches, and so I've reached out to them and I want to talk to them more and get a feel for how the fuck I can do this with my life. And that's how you make it through your dreams, to your dreams, is you spend more time alone. You don't have to spend more time alone, but I have a new episode that I want to record soon about feeling introverted and how that's normal and that's okay, especially in our post-pandemic world. So many people, including myself, are just feeling our social batteries get so low so much faster. That's why going on dates alone are so good. And you don't need to fill up your whole calendar with a full packed schedule, because hanging out with people is not a box you need to check to feel good and validated. I struggle with this, and I struggled with this a lot last summer when I was going through a soon-to-be friendship breakup last year, where I felt better about myself when I was oh my God, okay, I need to these people want to hang out, so I need to plan it with them. I planned something with them. I reached out to that person, check. I check these little boxes where okay, I can feel good now because I'm pleasing other people, when that's not where your joy comes from. hopefully hanging out with the people maybe bring you joy, but it's okay to not get joy from the same places that you used to. Your life will never be the same as it was 2 years ago. It will never be the same as it was 3 months ago. And I definitely chase. Oh, but like when I'm living in Toronto and I'm like, oh, but it doesn't feel like how it felt 2 years ago. It's like, no fucking shit. You've changed so much in 2 years. What do you expect? You don't want your life to be the same as it was 2 years ago. And that same goes with your friendships and your relationships and your relationship with yourself. Going on dates with yourself can give you a chance to get to know you so much more. And you're the person who's going to be in your life guaranteed the whole time. People may leave, things may end, people are going to die, relationships are going to go through breakups. You are the constant in your life. So why wouldn't you want to invest time and energy into yourself like you would any other external relationship you have? So, let me give you some ideas. What is something you love so much that brightens your day? Example, coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't have that same, feeling. But people love coffee. Take yourself out for a little coffee date, but don't just go out for coffee. Walk around, maybe sit in the coffee shop, read a book, do something a little bit creative in the coffee shop, walk to a new coffee shop, go on a hot girl walk to a new coffee shop. For me, the thing I love so much is food and sandwiches specifically. So I will decide to walk to my favorite sandwich shop, which unfortunately isn't a fucking food court, which is ugly. I want to find an actual cute coffee, or not a cute sandwich shop, but maybe that's my next me date is I go to a cute coffee shop, or I go, fuck, my God, I can't stop saying cute coffee shop. I go on a walk to explore where my next good sandwich shop is going to be. I think I know where I'm going next. Do that, because that's so fun, and that's a date. That's totally a date that you'd go with someone else, but it's like you're giving yourself that thing that you get so much joy from. Being in nature, this is the best solo date to go on. I mean, I feel like every solo date I've given you an example of, I've tied it to nature because that's where we get refreshed. That's where we get rejuvenated. Being connected to nature is the most important thing. So add some grass, some flowers, some sky, some water, some trees. I don't know, add some sunshine into this because it feels good. If it's raining, go fucking run out into the rain. Oh, maybe I should do that. It's currently raining. I just saw my therapist reposted Drew Barrymore being like, if it's raining, go run into the rain. Be the main character. Be the main fucking character. Make yourself the lead in your life. Romanticize it a little bit. Put on a cute outfit. Ooh, that's a good one. Put on some little makeup. Put on a cute outfit. I remember when I was going to 420, on 420, getting high, I was like, wait, but I want to just throw on a little bit of eyeliner. So when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oof, she looks cute. It can be so simple. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. Throw on a few rings and then walk out of the house. Something I love to add to my dates with myself is my journal. I think I always have my journal with me wherever I go on my solo dates because a moment of inspiration can strike you at any point. And writing it in your notes on your phone, it does the job. But writing it in your fucking journal, I think it does it better. Speaking of which, I need a new journal, so I'm going to add that to my list of things I need to get. Maybe I'll go shopping. Maybe I'll go shopping in the rain. Okay, I guess those were all the me dates that I wrote down as suggestions. I mean, you know your neighborhood better than I do. Oh, I'm like, if you have always wanted to try a workout class though, or try a meditation class, there's one near me, and my boyfriend and I were supposed to go, but we had to cancel, so maybe I'll go by myself, or maybe I'll go with him later, but maybe I'll go do my own meditation class. You can always go multiple times. A dance class, a Zumba class. I love Zumba classes. Go swimming. Oh my God, that counts as a me date. I literally go swimming in my pool. Exercise, you can also tie it in with a little bit of fun, I think exercise is always better when it's fun. Overall, going on dates with yourself, dating yourself, falling back in love with yourself, choosing to create that time in your life gives you a chance to reflect, to redirect, to be like, oh, that was so poetic. Reflect, redirect, See where you want your life to go. See what's working. See what's not. See what could bring you more joy in your life. Again, the world is hard. Life is hard. Adulting is fucking hard. If you don't give yourself a chance to like breathe and like see the beauty, you're gonna burn out. And you don't want that. You have control to create some love in your life within just yourself. And on these walks, put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You know? Tune out. Turn off. Focus on you. Don't just be texting the whole time. If you want to post on Instagram about it, take a photo and post it later. These me dates, they just make my chest so full and so warm and so happy, and they fill me up and they give me a new perspective, and I typically get epiphanies, so why not? It's worth it, even if you work a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. Before you go home one day after work, stop at your favorite food place. Stop and pick up yourself something cute. Or Sunday morning, have no plans and let your heart just guide you to where you're meant to go. Thank you for listening. Follow me at Human to Human Pod on Instagram. If you heard the very short snippet of me talking about my dream of coaching and that interests you for some reason, maybe you want to talk to me one-on-one, please DM me on Instagram. I really love it. Recently, I've found that more people have been reaching out to me, just kind of being like, I have these thoughts and I want to share them with you. Please do that. I love hearing your thoughts and we can share ideas back and forth. I will probably voice note you because if you're already listening to my voice on the podcast, talking for me is just easier than typing. I am Jessica McDonald. My personal Instagram is at Jessica J. McDonald. And hopefully I'll see you for an episode soon. Thank you for sticking around. I am not on a podcast posting schedule because life. And one day I will be, because one day I'm going to do this shit full time. Talk to you soon.